So every day we go through life, we make some sort of decisions. We're faced with hundreds of decisions every single day. Some of them are small, little nonsense decisions, but some of them are actually life changing decisions. And I always tell people to have no regrets. Welcome. How y'all doing today? Hope y'all are doing fantastic. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about having no regrets. Stay tuned. Be right back. All right, so like I said in the beginning, that we go through life every single day, and we have we're faced with decisions. Whether it's, I mean, simple little decisions. What am I going to eat off the restaurant? What am I going to, which direction I'm going to go to work today, or little stupid little decisions. But sometimes we're faced with actually like life changing decisions, like getting married, like going to college, like going to the military, like going whatever. I mean, we're faced with some pretty big decisions occasionally. We don't do those decisions throughout our daily lives, but some of them can be. You know, some of them can be life changing. Should I go hang out at the bar today? Okay, you go hang out at the bar today and you get drinking, and should I drive home? Oh, I can do it. I can drive home. I can drive home, and then whatever happens, it could change your life. It could change some other people's lives. It could change. It could change everything. If you get in a car accident, your life's changed. Their life's changed. Everything. Whether you want to, smoke that joint or whatever, that one little thing can snowball effect to a life changing experience. And sometimes we do things that we look back on and, man, I regret doing that, or man, I regret doing that, or even if I regret not doing this, or I regret not doing that. And it's like, do you really, or should you really? Because it's like certain decisions, like, they change your entire world. They could, like if you're getting out of high school and you're debating whether you want to go to college or whether you want to go to the military or whether you just want to get into life and go to work, each decision you make is going to change your entire world, your entire life. People relationships you have, places where you're going to live. That could change everything of your whole entire world. If you go to an out-of-state college, if you could like it out there and you could stay there. You could stay living in that state that you went to college in. Sorry, it's kind of early and just getting out of bed. My eyes are still adjusting, and I have some allergies. I'm going to try not to sniffle on you too much, but anyway, it could change your whole entire world. If you decide you want to go to the military, that's a whole different world. You change the world on some of these decisions, and it's like you may not realize it, but the whole world is different depending on what decision you make. I mean, and even for me, sometimes I look back on it and I'm like, oh, man, I'm done with this life. I'm done. I'm ready. I'm ready to be done. I'm ready to be over. I need to change. I need to change stuff in my life, and maybe I do, But when I look back at the past, there's no way I can change the past. But I also shouldn't regret the past. Some of those decisions were, like I said, that's what makes me who I am. That's what makes you who you are. Some of those decisions that you make, all of the decisions you make. But even some of those major decisions, just think about the people you love right now, and imagine what would have happened. How, if you would have decided to go a different path of life, like if you went to college right out of high school, imagine if you didn't and went to work, or if you went to work, imagine how different your life would be. How the people you love right now, whether you have kids, whether you have good friends, whether you have whatever, you wouldn't know those people. You would have totally different people in your life. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, not saying that's a good thing. It's just the decisions you make is what makes you who you are, and it shouldn't be, you shouldn't have any regrets. Basically, don't regret it. I mean, I've made a lot of decisions that I may not. Hang on, just a second. alarm. It's time to wake up. See, I'm always up before my alarm. But anyway, we all make those decisions, and it's and sometimes I look back and I think about that. I think about, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I would have done this differently, or I could have done. My life would be so much different if I would have done that. But is that really what I would have wanted? I don't know. Maybe, but it's hard to decide that. But that's what makes you who you are, and you wouldn't have the people you wouldn't have the people on your side. You'd have different people on your side, or you'd have different people against you, or certain things could happen. Like I mean, little anything can change your world, in an instant just by the decisions you make. I mean, I've done things in my past that I don't necessarily regret. I'm not proud of some of the things I've done. I've gone down some paths that I shouldn't have gone down, and maybe I should regret it, but I don't regret it. I don't. Like I said, I'm not proud of them. I started getting into a little bit of the drugs and the alcohol, and doing just stupid, childish, young and stupid stuff. What they say, oh, I was young and stupid once. Yeah, I've done that, and I regret some of those. And some of those paths I was on, I very easily could have been dead by now. With some of the drugs I was using, and some of the amounts of alcohol I was drinking, and just some of the poor decisions I was making. I'm lucky to be here, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's just be grateful for where you are in life and what you have. I mean, you may not have much. You may be struggling. You may be. I get it. I struggle. My wife can't work, and right now with the way the economy's been the past few years, it's it's tough to live. I mean, things are starting to get better, but I live on one job. I've got my wife and 6 kids. One of them we've lost to the real world, to college and the real world. So she's kind of on her own ish, but 5 still at home, and my wife, and my wife has some medical reasons why she can't really hold a good job very much. So we just live on my paycheck, and trust me, it's tough. I get it, and things could have been a lot better. Sorry about that. Like I said, I got some allergies, and my nose is like running like a little faucet. But do I have any regrets over it? I worked my butt off trying to support the family and trying to do what I got to do, and maybe things could have been different. Maybe if I'd have made some different decisions, maybe if I'd have gone down a different path, or maybe if I'd have whatever. But I don't regret where I'm at. I'm grateful that I've made the decisions to get out of that old bitter lifestyle that I had. I mean, I'm still a little bitter. I mean, I still have. As I get older, I start to care a little bit less about what people think, but and I start to get a little bit more stubborn and whatnot. But it's as I get older, it's I look back and it's like, yeah, I did those. I'm not proud of it, but I'm glad I went down I'm glad I went down the path to get out of that stuff, to get to where I'm at. I mean, I'm grateful. I may not be wealthy by any means, but I've got a nice house. I got things. It's not like I don't have, like, I'm just living on the streets. It could definitely be worse. I'll tell you that. But anyway, I'm just trying to just come on and do a little motivation video of, don't have any regrets. Go through life and don't regret things, because a lot of people say don't regret things you did, only regret things you didn't do. Well, I don't necessarily regret things I didn't do either. Try not to regret that either. Have no regrets for anything. Some people may say, man, I regret not going to college. Don't regret not going to college, because if you'd have gone to college, your life would have been totally different. You can go to college now, make that decision now. I graduated college when I was almost 40. So it's actually, I was actually over four. I was actually 40 when I graduated. So you can still go to college if you want. It's not like, I don't think it's worth it, especially at 40, if you're going that late. Because, yeah, I went to school for business administration. See the degrees back there. I even got my degrees, got 3 of them up there. But yet, here I am still an auto mechanic. Because they want younger kids. They want younger people, not necessarily, but they want people with experience is more what they're looking for. And so I'm still doing the same thing I've been always doing, but then now I'm trying to do this a little bit more. I've got a few things going that I'm trying to get going so I can start working my way out of that. But anyway, that's the video for today. Have no regrets. Go through, like, you're faced with decisions every single day. Don't regret the decisions you make. Don't regret the decisions you didn't make. Don't regret deciding not to do something. Don't have any regrets. And just remember, the world's getting crazy out there. We are a preparedness channel, so stay prepared, stay protected, carry a weapon of some sort, the most lethal legal thing you can carry. Have situational awareness. Stay aware of what's around you, because you never know what's coming. You never know what's behind the door. You never know what's going on. So stay aware, stay protected. Carry preferably a firearm if you can. Always carry something and have no regrets. Anyway, links below to if you want to support the channel, or I've got other channels down there. I'm if you're interested in checking out some of my other channels, I'm trying to get going. Anyway, appreciate y'all. Love you. See you in the next one.